there's a saying on the bottom, part of the saying on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty that says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." And today, my guest is going to talk about who are these tired poor yearning to be free. And so I welcome my guest today, and would you please introduce yourself?
I'm Sister Ruth Schaff. I'm a Racine Dominican, just like Lois is, have been for almost as many years as she has. And I've come to talk, Lois has asked me to talk today about my experience helping in the southern part of the United States in a location or a home for people who are refugees from other countries.
Yes, I believe you told me, it's in San Benito, Texas, but I believe you told me that the name of the place is La Posada Providencia. Good Spanish, La Posada Providencia. Can you explain what that means?
I can. It's better if you just can go there and get the feel. The feel of it is all around. It means a resting place where your needs are provided. And it was founded by the Sisters of Providence 25 years ago. And so their mission was to bring the rest and the needs of people to help them in this place of rest.
Oh, good. Now, explain a little bit, who are these sisters that are there?
There are 3 sisters there. 2 of them are Sisters of Providence, and the 2 Sisters of Providence have been pretty much with this operation in the last 25 years. Wow. And they know it through and through, and they've had some marvelous experiences there of meeting people from all over the world, people who are so grateful that there's someone with open arms to receive them.
Now, you said from all over the world. Well, who are the ones that are there all over the world?
Yes, they have. They list on there, for instance, the year that I was there, they had people from Cuba, El Salvador, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Guatemala, Guinea, Honduras, Italy, Mexico, Nepal, Rwanda, Somalia, Sri Lanka, and even from the United States.
What do you mean, even from the United States?
They have persons that are refugees.
Is that
from I never knew the story of those 3 people,
yes,
but the story could have been someplace where they were at risk from a gang, maybe.
Oh, that too, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like a refuge place, isn't it?
Well,
Sort of.
yes, it is. For example, yes, all of them have their own kind of needs. For example, those coming from Ethiopia and Eritrea, there's a terrible famine going on there now.
Oh, yeah.
They have a drought, and so nothing is growing. And just to survive, they have to get out of their country and go. And so they come there, and you can tell that they're refugees and that they're starving, really.
Oh, yeah.
And so, unless they came from a refugee camp where they had very minimal food because of the need, they have people from Somalia. They left the country because the country fell apart. There's no central government there anymore, and so many people come from Somalia to this area. Honduras, Guatemala, those people are violence in their own countries. They're not fit to live in anymore.
No. Well, now, they live there, or what is it?
There are 10 acres there, 10 beautiful acres in the village, or just outside the village of San Benito. And San Benito is, I don't know, I'm sure, I don't know where it is on the road. It's just a tiny little village. The place where I went in on the plane was Harlingen, And that's a center where people from the cold north in the United States go south for the winter. So when I mention Harlingen around here, people who go south, oh yes, we know that. We went down there for 2 weeks, or we went down there for 3 months, or whatever they go down for. And some of those people do help at this refugee center. They do wonderful things because they're down there for the winter, and they have a lot of
That's
time. So
wonderful.
they go over and they
Yeah.
do some very fine things for this center. The 10 acres have 5 small buildings. They're all frame buildings. There's one that's new, it's a prefab, and that's the education building. And it's one little room that holds all the educational resources for learning the English language. And Sister Teresa, who is not a Sister of Providence, she's from another community, she teaches English there every day, all day.
Oh, my.
And she's just wonderful, you know, and has so many activities with her students. And they come, I mean, the day after they're there, as soon as they're finished with their doctor appointments and all of those things, they're there to learn English. And they want to learn English because they know they can't get ahead in this country if they don't know
Now,
English.
they teach English. Do they, anything else? Do they, what else do they take care of them? You said something about doctor's appointment and,
Oh, that's all out, that's not part of the educational program.
no.
But the other 2 sisters
okay.
do a great deal of transporting these people to the doctor and to other offices that they need to go to get the business settled that they have to take care of
Yeah.
coming into the country. Now, besides those 2 sisters, they have a staff of like a social worker. Wonderful. She's like a miracle on feet.
Yeah.
And just out, she knows all the laws and regulations that these people need to fulfill in order to stay in this country. And so they're helping them get started. They're,
Yes.
and so there's a whole staff there. They're scattered all over the place. Every little corner, they have their equipment and they do their work.
Oh, wonderful. Well, what did you do there?
I taught. I got a student. I got arrived on Sunday night, and on Monday morning I had a student at 9 o'clock, and I worked with her for 4 hours a day for 10 days.
Wow.
And because she had not caught up with the class, the group she was in, and she was getting discouraged. So Sister Teresa had her right ready and all the materials, and
My
I
goodness.
sat down.
That's
I did that for
wonderful.
10 days. It was a wonderful experience.
What, Ruth? What made you want to go there? Now, this is your second time because you went
Yes.
before too. Well, what made you want to go there?
Well, just knowing the plight of refugee people, we can't avoid it. It's everywhere that we hear. It's not just Syria, it's Central and
Yes.
South America, it's Africa, it's Afghanistan, Iraq. There are millions of refugees trying to find a place on this earth,
Yeah.
to have a decent human life.
Yes.
And they do deserve it. They do deserve it. They have enormous misfortunes. I can't imagine what it would be like to have the country fall apart all around me and have to fend for myself on this globe. I think they need a hand out and a hand up and a hand
so
on
that
the back.
made you want to go
Yes.
and take part.
Primarily that was it. And then when I went to San Benito, it was something that I could just go in and do. I think anybody could do, maybe not teach the language, but you could go and help serve meals.
Yeah.
You could go and play with the children that are there, that those little ones could sing the ABCs. They were the smartest ones on the
cute.
campus.
Yeah.
And it was just fun to see
Yeah.
what people had done, volunteers had done with them while they were there. And so there's lots of plant flowers. You know, some people were doing that.
What would you like to say as we end our program now? What would you like to say to our listeners? You know, give them an invitation or whatever. What
My
would you-
experience with this was like it did more for me than I did for them, even though I worked hard and tried to have good plans and everything. But it did so much for me to see people from all over speaking different languages somehow pitching together, and they do have a common ground, even if they stay only 3 days. They have something that binds them together each day, more and more. They see each other's problems, they put a hand out and help, and it's a very possible and loving thing to do, and I was glad to be part of it.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate your, being with us today and explaining all this beautiful thing that people, that you do, and that others that are listening could do also. So I invite my listeners to think about this, San Benito, in Texas, and the place La Posada Providencia. If you're interested, you can find that, I'm sure, on
Yes.
on the TV, on the computer,
Internet.
So, my dear listeners, thank you very much, and thank you so much. Thank you very much for listening with us, and just end with this. I'm not illegal. I'm a human being. Please remember this. And so we close like we always do. Remember, once you know the truth, you are responsible for it. Thank you and blessings to all of you.